On the eve of the series' 25th birthday, Gran Turismo 7 seeks to celebrate not only the rich culture of automobiles, which has grown throughout the 21st century.
Oh, yeah, I read that. I meant to point that out. Sorry.
But also itself as one of the premier racing simulation series. Developed by Polyphony Digital and released on the PS4, PS5 on March 4th, 2022. The Geeks have gathered to take a look at their latest installment. I'm Eric, and joining me this week is Marcus and Brent. How's it going, guys?
Good.
Fantastic.
Good. Awesome.
We're rocking.
We're going to jump straight into this. It's just going to be a straight review of Gran Turismo 7, the latest in the franchise. So immediately after you boot up this game, you as the player gets this beautiful 8-minute cinematic, not even cinematic, it's a movie celebrating the creation and the culture of automobiles. It's not hard to see that this is also a celebration of this 25-year-old franchise. The nostalgia is there. The whole game is like full on nostalgia for cars in this series. How familiar are you guys with the franchise and racing sims in general? And do you remember the first time you played Gran Turismo? Any of them?
Yeah.
Marcus, go.
For me, the first time I saw Gran Turismo was the original Gran Turismo, and on good old PlayStation. It was my uncle had it. He had like, the big giant big screen TV, the rear projection giant big screen TV. And I remember going over there and I saw him playing this game and I thought, holy shit, that is the coolest looking like racing game. Cause it just looked at that time, I was like, it looks so real. Like it looks so incredible. And
look at all those blocks.
Yeah. Like to us, it was just the coolest thing. So watching that and then getting to play on that for the first time was amazing. And then when I finally got my first PlayStation, it was like one of the first games I requested. I was just like, can I get this game? And I played the hell out of that first Gran Turismo. And as the series came out, I played a bunch of them, but I've missed a few in between. But like I feel like none of them really captured that spark in me the same as that first one until this iteration of the game. And I mean, that's amazing. So this game, there's a lot of good things to say here. So I'm just, I'm pumped. I love the fact that this game is out.
Nice. What about you, Brent?
I honestly, I don't remember a lot of my experiences. The only game that I've played in the series is the original Gran Turismo. And I do remember because it was the one memory I remember of it the most is that it was the very first double jewel case game that I ever owned.
I don't remember.
I remember
that,
when it was one of the very first ones that had like the double stack
double
jewel
case. Yeah.
That
and Metal Gear Solid. I remember that.
Yep. And Final Fantasy VII, because I bought GT and Final Fantasy VII at the same time.
That makes sense.
But anyway, like, yeah, I don't have a whole huge recollection. The only thing I really remember from it is it was the only racing game that I enjoyed because I like story modes in games, and I like starting at the bare bottom and working your way up to the top. I like the Scarface of racing games, and that's exactly what that was. And from every account I've had of all of the other GT games up until this point, this is the first one that's recapturing that starting at the bottom and working your way up to the top.
I feel that.
That's the aspect I love about it.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. The first time, as with these guys, it was the first one. I was visiting my cousin who was in university at the time. I was 16. I think it came out in 97, right? The first Gran Turismo?
I think so.
And he's like, you got to see this. And he's like, I got a PlayStation. I'm like, oh, cool. He had Final Fantasy VII there and Gran Turismo. And obviously he puts in Gran Turismo first. And we're playing this game. We're like, oh my God, this is like the first realistic car racing game we ever played. Cause you get Mario Kart and all that type.
Yeah.
So you're just constantly going and shooting thing. I'm like, I guess I have to brake eventually when I'm driving. That's weird. Or not just flooring the gas the whole time. And then he's like, you want to see something cool? I'm like, sure. And he took me outside and he brought his game with him. And he's like, look at this. I'm like, okay, it's a Supra. And he's like, look at my parking spot. And it was a Supra. I was like, you son of a bitch. And then he took me driving and I was like, wow, this car is fast. And yeah, so ever since I played that one, I played the second one. And then I sort of dropped off. There were some in the middle that I played in university, but I didn't really play it again until I think the PS3 is when they had the Gran Turismo Prologue, and I think Gran Turismo 5 or 6 was on there. Yeah. I remember 5 and 6 having really good music, and 6 was on PS4 and had Churches on it, I believe. So,
I I remember Gran Turismo 4 being really good as well. Like that one I remember popped a lot. And I think that was a PS2 title.
I really remember 2 as well, Gran Turismo 2. The really early ones were like exciting because it's the first time you really got to play anything like that, right?
Yeah, if you hear a dinging noise, it's me upgrading my Camaro.
Fair. Yes. So let's jump into the actual review. For the sake of transparency, I was actually provided a review code for the game from Sony, but Sony does not influence this review before it's released live. It doesn't influence the review or even see it before it's released live to the world to see. So let's jump into this.
I bought it like a schmuck.
Yeah, no, you bought it, right?
I bought it.
Like,
I bought it. I pre-ordered.
I bought it after you said that we had the code for it.
It was just it wasn't a shared code, so unfortunately.
I pre-ordered it. I really wanted the anniversary edition, and so I did.
What was in the anniversary edition? I didn't.
So the anniversary edition had a couple extra cars, and you got $1.5 million right off the bat.
Oh, that would have helped a lot, especially in the early economy. We'll talk about money in a bit.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, I've still kind of been very sparse with my money, so I still have a lot of my money left. I've not gone on a spending spree because I'm burning through
it right now.
And see, this is something I find really interesting in this game is like people play in different ways. Brent is spending all of his money tuning a car that he loves. Like, these two cars, I'm gonna tune them. I've spent a lot of money tuning one car, like per class, but not like going crazy on it. And then the rest of my money I've been using to buy other cars that I'm interested in and that I love. So it's like kind of different. It's just kind of neat. But anyway, go ahead.
So when we jump into the game, you're immediately into this map that looks like Disney World. There's this hub world that's amazing, and it shows you different sections of the game where the player would like to go. You want to pick a car, go to the garage. You want to upgrade your car, you go here. You want to learn the history of one of the car makers, go over here. There's a place for players to go for any sort of thing in the game, and it's amazing. How do you think of the organization through this whole hub world for the game? It's the first time it really has done this in any of the Gran Turismo games, from what I can recall.
Kind of. I mean, like they did kind of do something like this in, I don't remember which one it was, but I remember seeing like a setup like this. It wasn't the same as this. This feels like you can see a little world happening. And I also really appreciate the day and night of it. Like, it just like, it has a transition. Now suddenly it's like, oh, it's nighttime in my little village here that I'm living in, almost kind of thing. And it's kind of nice. Like, it's not important, but it's just a nice little touch. But I like the fact that it feels like, I mean, you could have just had a drop down menu and like go through this menu kind of thing. But as soon as that little village exists, you feel like there's life there. You feel like there's something about it that's almost a little bit magical. Yeah. I think it does kind of add a nice little feeling, a kind of magical sense to the whole game.
It's definitely the most accessible way to find things, at least for me. I don't like menus under menus. Like if I know that there's a garage there to fix, to find things, that's where I go. There are some menus where I'm like, where do I do this tweaking? Oh, it's not in the garage, it's over in the other place. I was like, oh, that's weird.
There's the tuning shop and then there's the auto, like there's two different shops.
I just like that, like it just appealed to me as like the open world player who's like wants all the unlockables, and I'm literally sitting here playing through the game going, what's that? I want to know what that building is eventually. So I want to play towards unlocking it. What's that circus tent? I want to know what that circus tent is.
When you're unlocking that world, I was like, why don't I have that building yet? Give me that building. I've been in this game for 6 hours. Why I don't have that building yet? But
I got excited when I saw the plane by the boats and stuff like that. I'm like, is there some kind of thing where we get to like fly a plane
racing?
Or like drive a boat? Like what's going on? But just the fact that you get to see all that stuff is kind of awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just a screensaver came up talking about how in 1973 genetic modification was discovered.
That's weird.
It's literally it's going through screensavers right now, and it's showing like still shots and like of memorabilia to do with like automobiles and stuff like that. And then all of a sudden, it just came up with this one about this is the year genetic modification was created.
That is
nothing to do with cars
Gran
whatsoever.
Turismo thing. That's
All right,
Absolutely nothing to do with cars.
Learning with Gran Turismo.
Well, the whole game has this whole learning aspect, which is great. We'll talk about that when we get to cars. But right in the middle of this map, there's the cafe, which is a new addition to the franchise, where players get to go through 39 menu books, which teach the players the ins and outs of Gran Turismo 7. Players gradually unlock cars and licenses, as well as learn about the mechanics of driving, customization, and racing. What do you think of this? Is this a good addition to the game, or is it just like mindless busy work?
This is my favorite addition to the game, hands down. And I think mostly because, I'm not a car guy. I don't know anything about cars whatsoever. I can tell you what color my car is, and I can tell you how to put gas in it, and that's about it.
I'm the same.
So having like the tutorials, but like every time you find a vehicle, having like them, would you like to learn about this? Let us tell you about the history of this. Let's tell you about the mechanics behind it. That helps me understand things a lot better and helps get me more invested in the game. And then adding into that the whole like menu system of like, hey, here's 3 cars we'd like to teach you about, but we want you to go out and earn them. It's like, again, appealing to that like that open world player in me that like, oh, it's a quest. I get to go on a quest now.
Yeah. They made it really accessible for everybody. It's really easy to understand. It's kind of fun. It's kind of quirky. I love the experts that pop up. Like if you have one of your cars logged in as your car and you go to that cafe, somebody will come in and be like, hey, pick me. And if you pick him, he's just like, did you know your car was the #1 seller in 1992? And blah, blah, blah. They go into this whole kind of spiel. And like, it's stuff that you don't need to know. But once you know it, you're like, oh, that's cool. I know a little bit more. I feel a little bit more invested in my choice of car. And like, you learn and appreciate other cars now for a different reason, something you never would have done before. So I definitely love that. I also just love the menu system. It like Brent said, it feels like a quest. It feels like something that is egging you on, but in a nice way, in a fun way. And it's super accessible because you're just like, okay, you're going to do this menu. Okay, there's 3 cars, go get them. Then we're going to come back and we're going to talk about them. Like it's simple, but it gives you everything you need to know to play the game. My only gripe is that it stops. I wish it just kept going. I love the menu system. I love the cafe. And the thing is, when they first announced the game and they're like, we have this new cafe system and blah, 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 I was totally writing it off. In my mind, I was like, who gives a shit? It's a fucking cafe. What the hell? It's a virtual cafe. Why am I going to care? Definitely the best part of the whole game.
And it's not just giving you cars and teaching you about cars. It's like, they're telling you to go do this like lesson and learn how to drive properly, like driving properly, which is amazing. Because of the cafe, like I kind of jumped ahead and I just started doing all of my licensing. I'm in the super licensing now, like the last menu of licensing. I'm kind of right in the middle of it, but like it kind of just gave me that rush of like, ooh, I want more. As soon as I did the one licensing thing, I'm like, I kind of want to just do all of these. I just want to knock them out and have some fun. And it's pretty awesome. I finally got a gold in one of my licensing things. Nice.
That took forever. No, not all. Not all. One of them got gold.
I could tell which ones you were doing because as I was doing, your name kept coming up on the leaderboard of all of my licensing.
Yeah.
So I made it my mission. I streamed me doing the first license of the game, and I made it my mission to beat you on every single one of them.
Yep.
I got gold on all of them until I got to, I think it was like the 3rd last turning exercise.
Yeah.
And I spent an hour and a half to 2 hours just screaming at the fucking screen because I could not get gold time on it.
I love the leaderboard because I sat there doing the same thing. I was like, what? Brent did this already? And Marcus? I gotta get somewhere at least near one of them. Or at least beat one of them.
But see, that's also one of the great things about this game is like you get these kind of little moments of just like, oh, Brent's already done this. I'm going to do this now. And it's just kind of fun. And it's like that fun, healthy competition kind of thing. And it's just, I don't know. There's something really awesome about everything that happens in this game. It still needs a couple of adjustments, I think, but like it is pretty damn awesome.
There's a sense of community definitely in this game, and we'll talk about that in a bit. But the one thing I think, like when we were talking about these leaderboards, I wish we had little ghost cars of our friends because that would make me be like, I need to do this better.
Well, especially because then you could actually watch their strategy and watch how they drive, because I know I don't do everything the right way, but sometimes it still works in my benefit.
Yeah. We'll talk about how I can't
count how many times I accidentally discovered drifting.
That's every race, sir. That's every race. I didn't even realize that I had the auto braking system on the whole time until like earlier this week, and I was like, oh, I got to turn that off.
Yeah, I hate the auto braking system. I turned that shit off as soon as I could.
But the first time when they were talking about it in the tutorials, was like, you should probably turn this on. You're not that great. I was like, oh damn. Well, let's talk about the cars, because Gran Turismo 7 boasts over 425 cars at the release of the game, with the number likely to increase with updates. What are your thoughts on the cars included? Personally, like, I love the cars that they're there, but I think a lot of them are duplicates of or variations of the same model. So I'm just like,
because you go in there and you're just like, hey, I want a Mustang, but there's 6 different Mustangs to go choose from. There's 4 or 5 Vipers to choose from. The Ferrari, oh fuck, there's always could be like a million of the same Ferrari kind of thing, or at least they look the same. But as that is a kind of a pain in the butt, because you think to yourself, okay, there's 420 cars or whatever, but really there's only like 200 cars and then double and triples of different cars and stuff like that. But that being said, I mean, they're all different cars. They're built differently and they handle differently. And they're like, some are race versions, some are rally versions, some are, I don't know, track day cars or whatever,
like ones, and all that stuff.
Yeah, like you kind of have like different versions of these cars, so it kind of makes sense. But
I love that we've essentially just described Pokemon.
That's fair.
Yes, you know what? This game kind of does feel like Pokemon. I got to catch them all.
I do have to catch them all.
Yeah.
They're also. Oh my god, what was I thinking when you were talking about that? Damn. Thoughts of the cars. Yeah, I don't know.
The different kinds, they're all different. I don't know.
Oh yeah, there's also I didn't notice any cars really past 2020 maybe, or maybe 2018 or something.
There's nothing past 2018 or no, maybe 2020.
I think there was one car I saw in 2020. I was like, oh, that's weird. That was like, I wish there was a little bit more updates. I assume that's going to come as the game gets updated.
I would assume that's going to come, and I assume that they're going to bring in a lot more cars in the future, because like one of the things I noticed, like, we're doing a lot of these, like doing the Americas and the muscle car challenges and stuff like that. I was really surprised to not see a Dodge Challenger as opposed to, like, I saw the Dodge Chargers, but no Challenger. And the Challenger is basically the competition for the Mustang and the Camaro. So where's that car? Where's the Hellcat version? Where's the Demon? Like, I want one of those. Yeah. And they're not here, but I assume they're coming at some point.
Yeah, I was just looking for the town and country. Give me my minivan races.
I would love like a school. A souped up like minivan section would be pretty awesome.
Yes.
That being said too, like there's actually I just discovered it today. There's like a couple cars that you can buy that are professionally tuned.
Yep.
And they look incredible, and I'm like, why haven't I bought one of these yet? So that might be one of my next investments.
Yeah, let's talk about the physics of the cars, because when you're driving it, like Marcus said, everyone does really feel different, and especially when you start tuning and upgrading them. What do you think of these like micro not transitions, but micro like adjustments that you can do for these cars to make everything feel the way you want to when you're driving it? And they all matter, which is amazing.
Yeah. That's a very fair point, and it's kind of scary because like I can do the basic stuff, but when it comes down to those numbers and like height variations and stuff like that, I'm like, I have no fucking clue what I would want to do here.
That's why we need a menu book for this.
Yeah. That's like, I also like the fact that there are a lot of tutorials online of people showing you like, we're going to do this and this to our car because, and they explain why they're doing it. So, I mean, eventually I hope to learn a little bit more of the ins and outs of the fine tuning. For now, I'm doing very basic tuning and just making my overall number go up and up and up.
Yeah.
But as you do that, you also learn like what does work and what doesn't work. Like, for example, I learned real quick that you can put slick tires on any car, and it will do really well on the hot track day tracks. But if you have a wet day, or if you have a track that has a lot of curves and tight turns and stuff, you're probably not going to actually have a lot of success with it.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of interesting to have that sort of thing. Also, the fact that each car, because it handles differently, you have to adjust your style of driving. Like I love the rally cars and I hate the rally cars all at the same time, because those bitches, like I'm going from like these fine-tuned European cars that can handle corners like beautifully, and then these rally cars that are just like doing like full 360s as I'm trying to give it a little bit too much gas. Like you have to feather it, you know, like just learning that sort of ins and outs. American muscle cars can't turn for shit.
Nope.
So, I mean, you know, like you're learning all these things as you try to race these cars. Like I always thought, oh man, like a Dodge Viper was always one of the biggest things I always wanted, but a stock Viper does not handle very well.
Oh, I learned that after dumping about 500 grand into mine.
Yeah.
They don't turn worth shit. You either go little tiny turn or you go 720 turn.
Yes. And then you're sitting there, you're like, well, now do I pick a front wheel drive, or do I do the engine in the front, engine back? I was like, I didn't realize I had to learn all this stuff for just a video.
I intentionally found myself hitting cars going into turns just to keep me from going off the road.
Yeah,
you're one of those drivers.
I've done that by accident.
I do it on purpose.
There is a magazine in the main menu that gives you tips on tuning. I don't know if you guys have gone to the Gran Turismo magazine.
I don't think I have.
I haven't seen that, but I have
in the game.
I have followed a little bit. Like every time you buy something for tuning, there is something on there that tells you, like, you know, this is what this does. This is what you want to use it for. So they are teaching you what everything does as you're purchasing it. I'm still buying everything because I'm an idiot. I don't really care. I'll buy it all and then I'll figure it out later.
Well, let's hear what are your thoughts on paying for all these cars and upgrades, especially based on the very little amount you receive whenever you win a race or finish a menu. And then you get that little top up your credits with real money.
I'm perfectly fine with the system as is, like for buying the parts for your car, buying the cars. I have no problem with that. My issue comes when we start talking about the microtransactions in a little bit. That's where my problem comes in.
Yeah, for sure. I'm exactly the same way. I have no problem with a car being way out of my price range for, you know, months into this game. The idea that, you know, like some idiot who does have a lot more money than me, or like some kid that comes from a lot of money can just say, Daddy, I want your credit card. I'm going to spend $5,000 and buy a bunch of these real cars. Like, fine, do that. But I hate the fact that that's not what this kind of game is for. Yep. I mean, that was never a thing in the original Gran Turismos. You had to grind your way through these levels to get that like F1 car if you wanted it. Like that was kind of it. And you earned it. By the end of it, like you felt good about earning that car. It's no different here. Like, I mean, aside from the fact that some of these cars, they've jumped the prices up by ridiculous amounts and they just are too stupid. Like some of the legendary cars were just way too stupid. But I mean, you know, a couple million for a good car, you know what? That's worth it. And we should have to kind of work our way through the system to get that money. Again, the problem for me is the microtransactions are just bullcrap. And then also just the fact that we were making a certain amount on these races. And now, you know, they bring in this update and they're like, oh, we're going to take that money away. You can't be making that much money. It's not good for our game system, the way we have it set up, the way we want you to spend the money. And I'm like, come on, that's bullshit.
That's the part that pissed me off. I could give a flying fuck. Somebody wants to go out and spend $400 of their dad's money to upgrade a car, and because that's how they get their enjoyment out of the game. That's fine. That's how you get your enjoyment. I get mine out of the grind of it all. What I didn't like was the fact that it's almost like they are rewarding the people who want to put more money in and punishing those of us who want to grind. Yeah. If they had just not changed how much money you're making in game and made it more fair, then I wouldn't have a problem with microtransactions at all. You want to do it, go ahead. Because you can set up races in the game where it doesn't matter how much money someone spent on it. You have to fit parameters, which makes the races fair and even. Yeah. But just punishing those of us who we just spent $90 on the game, for crying out loud. Like, don't make me have to spend another. Yeah, don't make us have to spend more just to break even in this.
Yeah.
Like,
the worst thing is that like we're all completionists, especially in a game like this. You're just like, I want all of these cars, and then you're playing the game and you're like, you can buy this car, but only for a limited time, or by invitation only, and you can only have a certain amount of time. So you're sitting there like, and I could see people being like, well, I can only get this until like for another week, so I might as well pay a little bit just to get that. And that's bullshit. That sucks so much.
They're creating a situation. They're creating that FOMO feeling for everybody. And it's kind of bullshit. This kind of game shouldn't have that. This kind of game should have a light at the end of the tunnel. If you work hard enough, if you keep racing, if you keep doing what you're doing and you're good at it, you will eventually get all of these cars. You could do all of these things. But what they're creating here is a situation where they make you feel like you will never get this car unless you drop the cash right fucking now. And that's not cool. Like I'm a big fan of the legendary cars because like in this kind of game, as much as I love the racing and I love tuning up my cars, but I'm a collector. I want to collect the cool cars that I've always dreamed of having. And a lot of them are vintage, like legendary cars. And so the fact that all of those cars are already the most expensive ones in the game and they're rare, they're hardly ever seen, they're hardly ever there. Like, fuck.
And the fact too is they're not even disguising that it's a cash grab. Like they're not even hiding that fact for the whole fact that like, here's a whole bunch of cars that you want and they're all worth $1 million. Okay, well, I'll buy $1 million worth of credits. Well, you can buy 750,000 twice. Yeah. Or you can buy 2 million, but you can't buy 1 million. Yeah, and it's like, see, I know what you're doing now.
Yeah, I think the thing that bothered me the most about that whole FOMO feeling is the roulette tickets. Is because whenever it goes around, you know you're just going to get the
exactly which one you're gonna hit.
Amount of credits. It's never a car. It's never anything else. It's just the.
I got a muffler. I got a 10-gram muffler earlier today.
I've never ever gotten it.
I did win a car. I won the Honda
Civic,
it was like a Honda Civic Racing Edition or something like that. Yeah. I got that, and I was like, "Oh, that's pretty cool," because I honestly wouldn't have bought that. So
fair.
Yeah, I got like a 10,000 credit muffler for an Audi, which I'm like, well, I probably won't be able to afford an Audi for another 3 years.
Yeah,
I know. I've never gotten it. I've only gotten the minimal or the second highest money, and every time it happens, I don't look at the game when I get it. I was just like, okay, might as well do something else while I'm doing this.
Oh, I was literally on stream sitting here predicting exactly what I even called. I was like, oh, they're gonna give me the muffler on this one, I bet, and I got it. And I'm like, okay, now we're back down to the lowest amount for everything.
So going back on the cars, when you finish a book or go to the showcase, you actually see a video with information history about the car and the manufacturers. And this is really the first time, like this is that celebrating the car culture thing. And me being not a car guy, I thought it was really cool to actually start learning about all of these things and not in a boring way. What did you guys think of these videos?
I really like them. I am a fairly decent car enthusiast. I just never got to drive most of these cars. God, I wish I could drive most of these cars. But like, I've always kind of liked cars. I grew up watching Top Gear my entire life. Like, cars were always a thing for me. I always like thought about the cars I would want to have when I got older. I always dreamed about certain cars, and some of them are here and I get to own them in this game, which is pretty awesome. And I love the information we're getting. I love the visuals that they're bringing, and I love the settings that they put these cars in. I love the cars that we're learning about. I do wish that we could actually have someone physically talking during these things instead of just the scrolling and like reading it all. You know what I mean? Like I wish it was a little bit more of a presentation kind of thing. But that's a small nitpicky thing. Really, it's still an amazing situation. I love the way you get to learn about each car as you unlock it, or as you earn it, or as you buy it.
That's okay. I was trying to think of what this damn show was, and I actually meant to ask you, Mark, if you ever watched this on Netflix. Did you ever watch Hyperdrive?
Yeah, I watched Hyperdrive.
I was like, just playing this game is like maybe you want to go back and rewatch that. I don't think I ever finished that season actually.
It was okay.
I liked it.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. It was okay. I mean. As somebody who Top Gear was my car show for so long. So I like, it's a dynamic and it's a feel for like a show that I just never kind of lost. So any other car show was always kind of like,
This isn't
you're
Top
not
Gear.
doing.
This isn't
you're
a
not doing
tank
what I
on a
want you to.
beach.
Yeah.
As Steve is saying in the chat, reading is for chumps. Yeah, I would have loved to hear people talk about them, which would have been amazing. Let's talk about the actual game.
Does that make you a chump for reading that?
Oh, ouch.
Ooh.
I guess. Did we all play the game with the DualSense, or did we use driving wheels?
DualSense.
This was all DualSense, and I mean, but I definitely think at some point I'm probably going to invest in a wheel for this. I never thought I'd do that again because I didn't have a wheel since my PlayStation 2.
Yep.
But this game is crying for a wheel. Like I can already tell how much better it would be, like how much easier it would be to continue your lines and actually find their proper driving line with a wheel. And it's something that I just feel like I'm going to need to do at some point.
Yeah,
even if it's down the line.
Yeah, same.
You know,
I would love to get a wheel because this is the first time where I was like, I really want a wheel. Not that the DualSense is actually bad, because there's a lot of really good, like the adaptive triggers and the haptic vibrations for this whole immersion is actually really amazing. The triggers let you feel like there's so much like just minute details when you're driving. Like you can feel your brakes locking, or you can feel when you're like just getting close enough to the edge of the racetrack that you're like, oh shit, I got to move over a little bit. And when the weather changes and you can feel like the slickness of the road, like there are things in the controller that I never thought I would feel. And this is like a perfect, like we talked about how none of the PlayStation 5 games have really used the haptic feedback in a proper way. And this is one of the games where I'm like, oh damn, they're doing it right. Especially when you're driving and you're putting the gas just a little bit down, you can feel how much gas you're putting on or how much braking you're doing. It's crazy.
The one that really got me, and I don't know if you've noticed this or not, because like I said, I like to crash. I like to hit other cars to keep myself on the road. But as the race progresses, the more and more stuff you hit, you actually feel the damage in the car through the haptics as you're going down. Like you start to feel like your wheels kind of chugging along. It's like, oh, we've done some damage to this. Oh yeah, I've had it where like it feels like a tire's blown. And like as I'm driving, you just keep feeling this like da-junk, 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 da-junk.
Yeah, I would.
Oh, you hit more shit. It's fine.
I've hit things, but I haven't really seen the damage on the car, so I was like, "Oh, that's weird." Do you actually get a lot of like? Can you get visual damage? I didn't see it.
I get visual damage in the front corners all the time.
I fucked my Mitsubishi up in one race. Like, oh my god, that thing does not turn, and I slammed into every rail possible, and the front end was just gone at the end of the race.
So you're saying is I need to hit more things, apparently.
You need to hit more things.
I thought I'd hit enough stuff, but
you know, like this game still doesn't take the damage to the extreme like any of the other racing games out there. But it's much better than it's been in the past for Gran Turismo. Like the first Gran Turismo series, there was no damage whatsoever. And then since then, like there pretty much has been very minimal to no damage on anything. I like damage. It always makes me feel a little bit more real with the car. There's consequences if you smash into something. This one, it seems like there are some consequences. It doesn't feel like it's all there yet, but I mean, it's nice to finish a race and then you just see like your front bumper is all scratched up and the paint's gone and you're like, all right.
There was one thing I forgot.
But then you go into the next race and it's perfectly fine.
You fix your car. Yeah, you can wash it, but you don't have to buff it out. I forgot to mention this one thing in the haptic controls is that there are certain tracks that have like grates in the ground and you can feel it as you go over it. Like there or gear shifts. Man, I love haptic controls. Did anyone play with the PlayStation earphones for the surround sound?
Oh yeah, the entire time.
I intentionally did the first few times I played. Like basically any PS exclusive now, I have to put the pulse on first to see what they do with the audio, and it's incredible.
I pretty much have to play with the headphones on any game I ever play because I never want to wake up my kid. Yep. But that's pretty much how it goes, and it's incredible.
I don't know why I said baby. Your kid isn't a baby anymore. The one thing I thought was really neat is when you go into different views for the car, the audio changes. Like
yes. Also, I've noticed that in certain situations, I'm better driving depending on which view I go into.
I do the same thing. Like either in the steering wheel or behind the car.
Views once.
Oh man. So like, well, what's your view, Brent? Like, are you like
I'm always windshield view? Like
Always.
I'm always first person. Yeah.
Okay. Like with the steering wheel, you can see the steering wheel. Okay. See, that one I like for certain tracks and certain cars. But my favorite view has like, I do like the third person kind of view once in a while, especially for drag races, because it just makes me feel like, oh yeah, that's cool.
It's also good for the dirt roads because they're jumps 100%, weird. Like,
yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. Because I can't.
I want to switch to like an overhead or a third person view for all of those courses that have like the super sharp turns all over the place.
Yeah. But actually, I love not the headlight view because it's just like a little bit too, but like the one where you're basically in the hood. Yeah. You're like right in the hood. Like that seems to be like my sweet spot. I am super
Mad
good.
Max view.
I call that I call that the Days of Thunder view. Like that.
Oh, Days of Thunder. Yeah.
Let's talk about the weather and lighting because this game is gorgeous and confusing at how pretty it is and how much science they actually put into this game because
I had my first hailstorm while I was racing.
Oh my god.
Ooh, that was insane.
So they actually pulled meteorological data, temperature, humidity, and air pressure for each specific region, like where the tracks are.
When I went into multiplayer, and it was literally like I thought it was just going to be like give us your time zone, and it was literally like, hey, no, give us like your GPS location right now, like.
And they'll like everything is based on the actual weather in those regions. So the sunrise and sunset isn't always the same, like in California as it is in Japan, and to see how the colors and the sky and the stars are all accurate, like it blows my brain that they did this. I think the first time I went in a race where it went from afternoon to dusk to night, I was just like, wow. It was just so pretty. What did you guys think of like just the lighting changes of this?
It's beautiful. Like it's gorgeous to just see the color. Yeah, the colors, like the shadowing, the like everything. It just feels so amazing to see. And then also to know that like the driving conditions change depending on everything that's happening around you. And that includes like nighttime and daytime, like
because the track gets colder.
The track gets colder. And like the first time I had a evening/night drive, you know, it started off fairly strong, and then I was sliding around like a son of a bitch because my tires weren't sticky enough to stick me to that track the same way it was.
Moisture started coming up. Oh my god,
it's crazy. It freaked me out. I'm like, am I just becoming worse at this game? And it's
getting weathered too because the cars have been driving on it, so the roads are a little bit more compacted. Oh my god, the game is technologically amazing.
I just like all that plus like the fact that like I love the races when you start at a specific time of day, like right at dusk.
Yeah.
And you can actually see the track getting darker and darker and darker like the longer you go. Like it's not just like this, we're just gonna here's a static light. Like it's you're going through seasonal changes. Like that's fucking insane.
I think the craziest one was it Nuremberg in Germany? Yeah. One of the bigger tracks is when you start the race and it's sunny, and then you go to another side of the track and it's raining, and then as you're looping you move out of the rain and then you go back in the sun, and then because the weather had moved you go back into like just a little bit mist of rain, like the weather.
There's just this rain cloud that's following you around.
Sometimes
like
it
in
feels
Mario.
like that when I'm driving. What do you think of the weather physics of this game? Because weather directly affects the track with pooling on the road where it would actually happen in real life, and then if it dried because it's sunny again, the parts of the road that would normally get drier faster would dry faster, and then there'd be puddles still. Like it blows my brain, the technology in this game.
That exact thing has been why it's been fucking me up in some of my races. And it's fine because it's my fault. I'm the one that doesn't stick to the proper driving line. Yep. And so I'm the one that's like, I got up to, one of those like hill corners, and I'm just like
oh my God.
I always Donkey Kong just going off with a banana.
I always forget to look at the radar before the race, the weather radar. Cause I'm like, I should probably pick the right wheels.
There's weather radar?
There's weather radar.
You
can change the little map in the bottom corner. You can change what you're looking at, and part of it is the weather radar.
I haven't played much. Like, so basically I've had sunny, nighttime, and hail. Yeah. That's all I've had for weather conditions.
Wait till it goes like torrential rain and stuff like that. It just, the first time I did, I was like, well, I didn't look at the radar and I picked the wrong tires. I'm just sliding all over the place. So painful. Oh my God. It's incredible. Like the weather is just, it's another thing. And I'm sure they're going to add snow and stuff once, you know, they start adding stuff, but like just rain, even just rain is amazing enough. Let's talk about the different types of races. There are lots of different types of races. We have missions. We have dirt versus road versus race. What did you think of the variety of tracks and the race types in the game?
So far, it's been pretty awesome. Mm-hmm. I like the fact that we have a lot of different breakups. Like we have our main circuit racing, and then you have custom races that you can do. There's arcade races you could do. So like, you know, we have all of our basic tracks that you unlock. Then you have different versions of those tracks backwards, different weather conditions, but you can kind of create custom ones for yourself. And, oh, look at that. A 1987 Suzuki. It just shows you stuff on this game. Like just
I got 2007 iPhone begins sales in the US.
The first effective HIV drug is marketed in 1987.
So, oh my goodness!
What is
seriously, Eric? Just open the game up and just let it go to screensaver.
I have to run the stream.
Okay, but yeah, like the different kind of things that you can.
The vacuum tube is born. Who cares? 1904, the vacuum tube is born by John Fleming.
That's important.
The first jazz LP in 1950.
I had one earlier that was about like it was like 1950s collegiate clothing for athletes, and I'm like,
that's weird. Oh man.
But yeah, like this right here is a testament to all the things that this game brings you, right? But yeah, all the different tracks, like all the different options for racing is really awesome. You have sport, the sport mode thing, multiplayer, like there's different ways to race. The only thing I wish it had, and I hope maybe they'll come out with it or something, I would love there to be like a leisurely track day drive kind of thing.
They sort of have that.
But no, like I want it like without having to be part of the multiplayer kind of thing. Right. I just want to be able to like, I bought a new car. I just want to test it out. I just want to have a little bit of fun with it. Just let me go.
That?
Huh?
Not that I've seen.
They don't have that?
Not a test track. No. Like
just
I would love to just drive on the tracks without anyone else.
Yeah, and without anyone else, and without like you're doing 3 laps. Like, no, don't just give me open-ended track access so that I can take one of my cars out and just drive it.
Well, they have that.
Technically speaking, though, couldn't you do multiplayer and set up a private track? Well, they also not invite anyone.
They also have custom races where you could do that, but again, you have to pick track. You have to pick
but again, that's all. That's me changing the system to suit me to just try a car out. When instead, I would love to just be able to buy my car and say test track. Like, and just choose one of the tracks and just try it. Mm-hmm. I don't understand why that would be such a difficult thing to do, considering it's all right there. I'm going to drive on the track anyway. Just let me take this car for a certain amount of time and just have a little bit of fun driving it.
You never know. Maybe they will eventually. I mean, given I've put 6 hours in and I'm still unlocking shit on the map. So like, for all you know, you'll put like 30 hours in. They'll be like, hey, here you go.
Maybe that would be fun.
I'm definitely at 20 something hours.
It's the Elden Ring of racing games.
The one thing that bothers me about the racing, like I love the variety of it, but the rolling starts is what fucking kills me.
I
hate
like
them.
the fact that every single race starts as a rolling start and you're always in last place.
It's not even a proper rolling start for like races, right? Normal rolling starts are 2 lines and then like everyone really close, right?
Yeah.
This is a single file where everyone's 50 meters apart and you're just like, well, I guess first place is fucking 2 minutes ahead of me. I guess I have to figure out how to get there. There's one track where I was like, he's halfway through the track already. How am I going to catch up to them? Like,
in some of them, it doesn't matter. Like in the general progression races, I mean, like you're so OP on those, like you get to first place, no problem. But then you hit those actual like races and that where you're playing against like smart AI, and it's like, I've never been able to place higher than 5th place on any of those because like you make one small mistake and that's it. It's over. You have to be perfect to win those.
And even if you're perfect, like sometimes you just won't catch them. Like it's frustrating. It becomes this game of chase, and you're just like, I don't want to chase someone. I want to race them. And the worst part is that there are grid starts in this game too. So you can't. Yeah, there are. So I don't know why they just don't do that for everything.
If you create your own event or your whatever, like you have the option for grid starts, and all of mine are always grid starts because I'm like, well, we should all be starting on equal playing footing here. Like, why is it this guy is already 100 yards ahead of me and we're all in the same damn lap? Like, it's not cool. God. So it's so annoying, especially when you get to the 20 car races. You're just like, well, I guess I have to figure out how to get past like 19 guys. It only makes sense to me if you're doing something that's like, when you're going like 30 laps or something,
2012, the Diamond Jubilee of Elizabeth II.
Well, we gotta know. Yeah, like no.
Another thing I haven't done yet, and I haven't tried yet, is like I haven't had to do any kind of racing where I've had to top up with gas or like change tires or anything like that.
I haven't done that either. I haven't pitted.
Yeah, but that's something that's in this game. Like there are pit stops. There are stops for, especially for like long running races and stuff like that. So I'm interested to see how that works and how that dynamic. Because the only thing I've had one game or one race where that was part of it, and I kind of was like, oh, let's see what this pit thing is, and it totally fucked me up because like I kept getting penalties because I exited at the wrong time or too fast, or I exited by cutting something off, and I was like, well, what the hell?
yeah, I've done that too. And you're just like, and the pits, those pits seem very long for me. I don't know if they've seemed long for you, but they're like, I guess I'm waiting here for half a minute. Yeah, and everyone's going by me. And it was at a lap. It's weird. I don't know if you guys have played with the internet out, but you also have to be connected online to play any of these things, which is, I think, is really weird.
Yeah, I don't understand why,
especially single player stuff.
I really don't understand that at all. It doesn't make sense, and it really just pisses people off who don't have
stable internet.
Yeah. Like, I mean, for me, it's been fine. Like my internet is always on so far, and I'm always connected. It's not a problem. But the fact that it is an issue for so many people is kind of stupid, considering when you're playing most of the single player levels, like most of the single player campaign, it should be a non-issue.
And they had that server outage, or a week ago, right?
Yes, the server outage. Yeah, and they were just like, oh, well, since this happened, here's $1 million.
I don't think that's
the reason why. But all the cars are worth a lot more money.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter.
I saw that $1 million come into my inventory. I was like, oh, sweet. Oh, the car I got an invite for is 2.5. I guess I don't need
that. So it doesn't even matter.
No, it doesn't. There is 2 other modes that they've added: a music replay, which is like a music video-esque replay of the race you just did. Have you guys tried that out?
No, because I hate watching my races again. Like once I've raced it, I don't want to see me race it.
I do. Like I've done it a couple times, but most of the time, like in this music replay and music rally, I don't know if you guys have played the music rally, which is
I've played music rally
game, arcade game.
I played the music rally because it was the only thing that was available while the game was still downloading.
That's fair. The music isn't great in this game.
No. The music rally, the music rally, all of the songs, like there's a bunch of classic, weird, like Flight of the Bumblebee,
the disco ones though, right? Like they're from the 80s or 70s or something.
And I don't understand why these songs have been chosen. And then there's like a big glaring thing that says coming soon, like more songs, I guess, but like there's nothing there. And
were those songs even in the regular game? Because even the songs while you're driving,
some of them are. I know there's that one song that is part of the music rally is in there, and I've heard it a bunch of times, but I don't know. It's just, why are these the songs? That's something that we need to go back to, because the original Gran Turismos always had really good pumping crazy music, and this one is lacking hardcore in music. Like the music choices suck.
I remember the first in Gran Turismo 1, they had like the first song I remember is Garbage, and you're sitting there like, fucking yeah, Garbage is playing this. Gran Turismo 2 had Moby, Garbage, Rob Zombie, Apollo 440, Crystal Method, Stone Temple Pilots, Hole, Beck, The Cardigans. Like my favorite game is one of my favorite songs to just drive to in real life. So
Love Me.
No, the better Cardigan song.
That you love me.
And like this game, I sat there, I was like, I don't know any of these songs. I listen to current music, so I do, like, I would have known some of them, but like,
I listen to popular music.
I am a young person, but like, nothing is memorable. Even like, I don't even get the adrenaline pumping up feeling that you used to get. With
I have the music turned down so low on it anyway, so I'm like, because I'm like, if I'm streaming this, I'm worried about a DMCA strike, but I'm like, I don't think anyone really good.
They have an option to turn off streaming music.
Okay. But I'm just like, I just keep it down and low. I'm like, if I really want, I can just put on my own music while I'm going.
Yeah, that's what I've been doing recently.
I have to say, like, all of the best racing games that I ever played in the past always had a good Rob Zombie song playing at some point.
Yeah,
and it like, oh yeah, Dragula is like a must for all racing games, and
skateboarding.
The fact that it's not here bothers me.
Yeah, no, I feel you. Yesterday I was playing it to the Foo Fighters, and it was just a good playing. Yeah,
Foo Fighters.
Yeah, the mode that I think I might be using the most in this game is escapes.
I was just gonna say, I'm literally watching right now, and I'm just they're doing a bunch of escape shots, and I'm just like, God, I gotta get to that location. I gotta take one of my cars in that location.
Okay, yeah. I'm just now realizing, like, watching like the footage that's running during like the screensavers and that, just how the level of detail that they're putting into the surrounding areas. Mm-hmm. How there's literally one race when you're driving by, and there's a bunch of people in prison uniforms picking up garbage.
Yeah. Did you know when you're on your last lap and you have a pit crew, they'll start banging on the fences for you to win? It's amazing. Really? Yeah, like the little details are crazy in this game.
Also, like, well, even just the little, so Scapes, for example, have an amazing scenery shots. But did you know that there are like movie versions of Scapes?
Yep. Race. Yeah.
Like so to see that happen. It's so gorgeous. I've been watching it for the last 20 minutes. This is the most beautiful thing I've ever seen.
The ray tracing in this game is amazing. So also there's two visual modes in the game in general. It's prioritize frame rate or prioritize ray tracing. Ray tracing is only in certain parts of the game. It's not the gameplay portions of the game.
Yeah, I've been playing on performance. I haven't. I don't bother with ray tracing.
Yeah,
I do performance, but I turned on ray tracing for a couple of because oh my god, some of the lighting shots are just incredibly gorgeous when you have ray tracing on.
It's the most detailed camera system I've seen in a game that I can think of. Like just picking the I have a Fuji, my camera is a mirrorless camera, and getting the ability to go through the aperture, the ISO, and everything in game is crazy. There are over 2,500 locales that you can put your car in, and that they're I've posted photos on my Twitter and people are like, that's not a real photo. I'm like, I know. I don't understand how this game looks so good. It's so pretty and I love it so much.
Have you seen also I love the fact that you can have your driver in different positions and you can position all over the place.
I found out about this. There's a social feature in this where you can look at your friends through this hub world. And I went to Marcus's and it was the first photo I saw with your guy going like this or like this.
Oh yeah,
It's just outside of his car. I was like, oh my God, you can put your guy outside. I was like this.
Which that's why when there's the options you can buy new helmets and suits and stuff. And I was like, why is that an option? I never see what I'm wearing. It's for Scapes. It's for Scapes.
That's the social part of this as well. They've added these these social spaces where your friends can share all these things and you can like them and comment, and it's really cool. And then there are these multiplayer areas where you can just go and chat with other car enthusiasts, say about this track or about this car. I haven't done too much of that. Also, I wouldn't know what to say because I'm not a car enthusiast.
I don't know enough about the tracks to talk about them.
I would love to see a massive gearhead just go off. and try and understand what they're talking about in the game. But those places scare me. Also, like we had said earlier, they have the whole race etiquettes, like no pit maneuvers, no hitting people. I was like, you're not supposed to pit people? I guess that's fine.
Oh yeah. I'm afraid to race against like good racers because I'm like, if I touch them, am I going to be yelled at in German?
And you get like penalized in multiplayer if you do that. And
yes, you do. Yes, you do.
Sucks. The multiplayer also scares me. I've done a little bit, but the people I've raced against are way better than me.
Well, I went into one race, and I went in there with one of my my DB11, my Aston Martin DB11 that I've kind of tuned up, and I was like, well, this is a pretty decent car. And I went into this one race, and all these guys are in like supercars, like hyper supercars, and I'm like, I thought we'd all be like
down a level. Can I go down?
Yeah, like instantly I was just like, well, I have no shot. And then of course, I think two of them lapped me. Oh my God. It's just insane.
I tried multiplayer just once today and nothing came of it because like I think I spent like 20 minutes just waiting for enough people to come in for them to actually start the race. So I was just driving around the track practicing the whole time, and I was like, oh, this is kind of boring. Like
that happened to me too. Like when you're waiting for people to actually be in the room that you're trying to race in and stuff. Yeah, it's kind of shitty.
Every lobby that came up on there for me to join was all 1 out of 16, and I was like, no, give me one where I'm like the last guy so we can go right away.
Every single one I've gone to, I've always been the middle person. I don't know why. Maybe it's the time of night that I'm playing.
Have you seen, like, I just saw it in one of my movie things that's happening here. It was race footage, and one of the cars in night mode, when it's braking like super fast and braking hard around a corner, the disc brakes are like glowing red, and you see them cool down and then glowing red again when they start. That is beautiful.
Yeah, that happened on one of my cars during one of like the last time I did a night race, and I saw it in the replay. Like that's why I look at the replays, because I like looking at stuff like that. And it happened like sort of close to when the sun was coming down. I was like, is it reflecting off my brakes? I was like, no, I'm just braking too hard. Oh my God. It's amazing. Is there anything else that we haven't talked about or mentioned about the game, good or bad, that I haven't mentioned?
Yes. We have not mentioned the used car lot and Brand Central and stuff like that. Yeah. So the used car lot, this is really cool because, you can go to Brand Central and buy your brand new cars. They're always going to be there. But the used car lot is kind of neat because you can find some of the cars from Brand Central at a cheaper discounted rate. Great. But you can also find the out of date cars that you can't find anywhere else except for the used car lot.
Yep.
That's where I had to buy my
used car lot.
Yeah.
You haven't been?
I've only been there. Like that's where I've bought.
That's the first place I go to before going to
right now. Currently, there is like there's a couple cars that I kind of want to go for, but I'm like, maybe I'll wait. I don't know. But like, if there's a car I want that I know can't be bought brand new, or it's not usually at the used car lot, I will probably drop some cash for it.
Yeah,
which is what I just did for the. I bought the Testarossa today because I was like, I need that.
That's fair.
I bought the Viper and the Mitsubishi off the used lot, I think for like $280 for both of them.
Yeah.
Nice.
And usually the mileage isn't that bad on the cars. So
no, but I mean, to me, the mileage means almost nothing. Like because you can
replace it.
You can rebuild the engine. You can do all the tuning and fixing and everything anyway. So, okay. So here's something I wanted to ask you guys. What is your like car that you are striving towards? What do you need to have? If you don't already have it, I don't know.
What there's this. So my first invitation was for this Bugatti that is just gorgeous, 2.5 million, and it's currently the car that I'm like, once I hit 2.5 million, I'm getting this car.
You're just blowing the money.
I just want this, and I don't know why.
And then spend another 5 million tuning it.
Yeah, it's true. But it's gorgeous. And hopefully when the update comes in April, that'll rebalance this whole economy. I'm hoping I'll actually get to buy it.
You're right on. The Bugattis are freaking amazing.
Yeah.
Brent?
Like I said, not a car guy. I had no aspirations for any one specific thing until I saw that Camaro come up today. And I was like, oh my God, why did I not think that this could be in the game? And I've got it and I've tuned it up and Yes, I have not raced it yet.
Yeah.
I am excited to. I just want to hear that engine fucking roar.
So I've raced that car. The engine does sound gorgeous, especially if you give it a little bit more torque. It's amazing. It will handle like a motherfucker though. But you will have fun. You will have fun. I guarantee you.
Also my cousin's Supra is in the game, so I sort of want to get that just to memories.
Nice. Well, that's why I wanted the Integra Type R. Like that was a car that I almost owned, and I was like, I need this car. I want that car.
Yep.
And it was fun. It was a good car to start with for quite a while. Like it was a brilliant car. My go-tos, like there's a couple cars that I need to own at some point. One is the DeLorean. I want the DeLorean. I forgot about
that. Yeah.
I just have to have it. I've always wanted one. I'll probably never race it, but I just want it. And then I really want the Pagani Huayra.
I don't know.
I figure you probably wouldn't know that car, but the Pagani Huayra is like a pretty fast super-y car kind of thing. I don't know. I saw it once on Top Gear and I fell in love with it.
I know what this is. I looked it up. I was like, oh yeah, this car.
Yeah, the Huayra.
There are a number of concept cars that they have in here that I just want to try. Like I
have one of them because it came with the game. And I
don't even know where to find what you're talking about.
Go to the showcase, which is the one right beside the used car lot. You can view all the
Brand
cars.
Central.
Yeah, and you can just kind of search through them.
Yeah, but what am I searching under here to find it?
Just go under the brands, and then you can just.
It's Italian. It's the company's called Pagani.
Yeah,
with a P. And then there's only two cars. It's the first one, the Huayra. The other one, the Zonda, is pretty nice, but it's more of a race car.
Oh, that looks like the Batmobile.
Yep.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Yeah. It looks so good. As soon as I looked it up, I was like, yeah, I know what you're talking about. I think I've seen that Top Gear that you're talking about.
Oh my God.
I'm sure I have.
Richard Hammond starts like drooling over it. And as soon as he shows the shifter and how it's like all exposed, and I'm like, I want it. All leather and stainless nickel and stuff like that. Like, oh, it's gorgeous.
I can't believe you can feel the shift.
That's not that bad.
Oh, I'm probably going to buy it. Like I could buy it right now, but like I have a hard time just letting all of my money go in this game. Cause I'm like, there's going to be more cars.
Right? You can get it back.
I know, but I don't want to spend like 10 months getting $1 million. I'm at 1.4 million right now.
Well,
I'm at zero. I literally just spent all my money. I have 1,350 credits left.
Oh man.
I'm sitting at 2.3 million or something.
Oh my God, you're so close to my car. No, no, I'm at 1.4 and I'm sitting there like, because every time I upgrade my car, I go up and down. I'm sitting and then I gain stuff, and I'm like, I'm never gonna get away from this little buffer area that I'm at.
Yeah, I don't want to be really disciplined, or you have to just like agree to grind for like an entire day.
I mean, you know how you get daily bonuses for driving a certain amount. I wish it was more.
Yes,
because I drive a lot, and then I'm sitting there like, well, I guess I don't get anything else for this.
Maybe that's one of the things they'll balance out.
Yeah, it's true.
Either that or have tiers of it, where it's like, if you hit this many miles, we give you this reward. You hit this many, you get this reward. You hit this many, you get this reward.
There's also supposed to be, they're supposed to be bringing back, like it was announced with the game, and it so far has been lacking. It hasn't been here yet, but you should be able to sell your cars. Because what happens?
I hate it.
Yeah, exactly. People end up winning a car that they've already bought, or they win a couple versions of the same car, and they're like, I don't want these ones. So yeah, like there's the option to sell.
One of the things, that was one of the things they were pissed off because they canceled that. They canceled doing that when they did the microtransactions, because it was another way for people to get money that wasn't paying them money.
Yeah. And that's not even the next big update. That's in the future.
They're calling it, what is it, in term or something like that, like near term. I'm just like, okay, whatever that means. What that really means is they're waiting for this game to be like 2 years old, and when it starts getting like slow and it goes down in price, okay, now you can sell your cars.
I hope they add more menus. That's what I want. More menus.
I want new menus. I want new race options, and I want new cars. I want it all. What can I say? I'm being picky, but okay. So
I want the Homer.
That would be amazing.
Could you imagine?
I want 2 domes on a car.
I would pay money for Homer. No, I wouldn't. But I would say I would.
If it was a 1 day only thing for $2 million, I would spend real money to get it.
Did you see that the current promo for buying PlayStation, like a $50 PlayStation card, is you get money in Gran Turismo as well? I was like, oh you
really?
Sneaky fuckers.
Oh.
Yeah.
No.
Nope.
If you could have a whatever car you want come into this game, what car would you want popping into this game? Something that's not like the Homer, something that would be an actual like racing car or car that could feasibly come into this game.
Ooh, this is a good question.
I mean, it might already be in it, but I mean, I gotta, as much as like I don't know much about cars, I have to throw some love towards Nick Cage and go with the Shelby GT.
It's here. Oh, it's there. 100%.
They have the Cobra in it.
Yes, it is here.
Okay. I had a feeling that it was like, I don't think you can have a racing game without that.
It's expansive.
There was a concept Aston Martin that they had in a James Bond. Which one was it?
Like the newer James Bond?
Yeah, one of the newer James Bonds that they never actually released. I can't remember what it was called. Because it was it wasn't Casino Royale, was it? Like that one? No, that car came out, didn't it?
I think it was like a vintage car that they repurposed or remade or something.
Or any James Bond car, to be honest, actually.
Pretty much, yeah. Well, that's most of the Aston Martins. The DB11 actually, I believe, was in a James Bond film.
Yep.
They have 8 Aston Martins on here, but every single one of them is sold out currently.
Oh, wow. What is that? Okay, a weird car just showed up. And because it's on this, that means it's in the game.
Yep.
Oh, it's the bus?
No, it looked like it had an air conditioner at the back. And it was like all metal. It had the number 66 on it. It is the weirdest looking car I've ever seen. And it's there. I got to find it. I have to track it down, but I don't know.
It must be German.
It's got to be a concept car or something. It's weird looking.
Oh yeah, that definitely sounds like a concept car.
I would really going with the classic muscle cars and everything. I've always dreamed of having an Oldsmobile 442. Mm-hmm. Which is like a big muscle car. Has been. Oh, there's your Bugatti. Oh my god, that's a gorgeous car. That thing is fast.
The two-tone. Oh, I love it so much.
67 Chevy Nova. I want.
For nostalgia's sake, I would love a 1994 Mazda 646 because that was my first car. The first car.
That's why I'm almost like, for nostalgia's sake, I'm like, give me the 94 Dodge Shadow white.
The Shadow. Oh my god, the Dodge Shadow.
Like just the shittiest cars. I would love it. Like
I want a Ford. I want a Ford Tempo.
A Ford Taurus.
1991 Ford Tempo.
I had a 1991 Chevy Lumina.
Yeah.
in late high school. I like white, the dirtiest white that, oh my god, I would die to have one of those.
I would love them to come out with these like really shitty sedan, like an entire line of really old sedan cars that you can just fix up and tune and make them look awesome.
Here's something I'll ask you. Would you want to see bikes come into Gran Turismo?
I would love it. They'll never do it because that's not what they do. But there already is kind of a bike version of Gran Turismo, and it's the Ride series.
Yeah.
But I bought Ride. I bought Ride 3, not Ride 4. And it's good, but like I like to ride my motorcycle in the city and stuff, right? So track racing motorcycles doesn't interest me, and you're only ever on like these sport bikes. To me, it's just not what I want from a bike game. Really, if I want to ride a bike around in a game version, I go to the game Crew 2 or whatever.
Yeah,
like that's the game for me. If I'm going to be like, oh, I want to be on a bike, I'll get on one of those bikes and I can ride across America. Like that's more for me. Mm-hmm. What I would love is, I wish there could be. They'll never do it again, but like I wish we could drive some of these cars on like city streets or like through the city. You know, like if you could like take your Gran Turismo car out on the streets, that would be the ultimate. Maybe not the racing cars, like you're not allowed to bring an F1 car out onto the main streets, but I would love
Not
to be
with
able to
that
just drive. But I would love that sort of thing.
You
But
know
again,
what? You catch me.
but I don't think they'll ever do something like that. That's not their style. It's not what this series is all about.
This game is about prestige and like the highest form of like art. That's air quote art, right? For the car.
Yeah, as long as you pay for it, you got to pay for all of it.
That's true. That's true. Any final thoughts on this game before we get into our ratings? We're gonna do this out of 10.
I mean, it's one of those. Before we even get into the ratings, like I'm just gonna give up the goat a little bit here. It's a near perfect game. Like for what it is, for if you want a racing game or like a racing sim game, especially in this generation right now, like this is a near perfect game because the physics, the cars, the looks, the weather system, all of that is working perfectly here. Where it's falling apart is the people who are managing this as a game and throwing shit at us that none of us wanted, and they're pissing us off with it. So I think this is a great game. I think if anything, like we just need to see like more of it. Like I feel like I've been playing for 30, 40 hours, I don't know, and I feel like I still have barely scratched the surface of what this game offers. Mm-hmm.
Especially when you're only at what you said 50 cars, and this
I'm at 50 cars out of 400 and something. Yeah, like I'm there's nothing here yet. Like,
mm-hmm. What about you?
Still got so much to do.
Any final thoughts on this?
Yeah, I mean, like there's certain things about it. Like, I mean, we've gone over all the glorious stuff about this game, and there's a lot of it. The stuff that I would say is like missing for me to give it like a super, super high rating is I wish that there was like for more stuff for people like me who are learning about cars that don't know much about it. Because this really does feel like it's a game for gearheads and it's not a game for common people who don't know. So I wish there was more when it comes to tuning the cars, that there was more of an evolution in the game of that, so that it wasn't just throw it all at you here and then you figure out what each thing does. And then as soon as you're kind of wrapping your head around it, all of a sudden they're like, oh, you got another car. Here's the next tier unlocked. Yeah. Here's the next tier unlocked. And I'm like, I'd rather there be some kind of like tutorial system to take me through what each of those does, so I have a better understanding of the mechanics of the game, because I feel like I need to be a car guy to understand how it goes.
And that being said, like, this is more accessible. Like before, they used to just drop you in. So
the fact that they do offer information about it, and they do provide you like, you know, like if you're buying this is what its purpose does. It still doesn't fully help you grasp it, but at least they're steering you in the right direction. And I also wish that there was a little more variety in the races early on, because I am finding that every race is just exactly the same for the first, like, I'm about 5 hours in, and it becomes a little monotonous, but I do know that eventually it's going to open up wider and become a lot more freedom. But in the early stages, it is very monotonous.
A lot of those tracks also feel similar, even though they're in different locations.
That's because a lot of them are similar. A lot of them, you are running the same track again. It's just now you're running it at nighttime. Now you're running it backwards.
Well, even when you go in different locations, there are some that just sort of feel the same. I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. Personally, like I agree that this scratches the itch for a simulation game, but like personally, I'm not much of a simulation driver. I'm not more. I wouldn't say that I like this more than arcade driving. I really like arcade driving just because it's more. It's not real. It doesn't feel as stressful. I don't know if that makes sense. Like this one feels like you actually have to. Like
this really feels like if you don't follow the rules 100%, then you're going to suffer as a result.
Yeah,
but
if I hit the side, it doesn't mean I'm going to totally spin out, which will happen in this game if I'm wearing the wrong wheels. That being said, if you want a simulation game, I think this is the peak at our current generation of games. Like Marcus said, like if you want simulation, Gran Turismo is where you have to go right now. And what they're doing is great. I want to see more. I want to see this game evolve a little bit more as they give out some updates. I love the weather, but I would love to see snow. Being Canadian, I guess, makes that a thing that I want to see.
Advantage.
Yeah, I guess. I still think that the dirt races there's something off with them. I don't know how you feel about this, Marcus, but I feel like when you're going off jumps, you just don't have control. Like there's no control in the jumps and landing.
It's still one of like the dirt races are still where I feel like this. I feel like the games I've played dirt. I've played what's
Horizon.
The other one?
Not Horizon.
Like,
Forza.
Forza. Like I feel like those ones are better for dirt racing. This one is like, I'm not sure if this is more realistic. I'm guessing it is. But that doesn't make it more fun. It just makes it more of a pain in the ass. You know what I mean? Like, because like every time there's one of those missions or challenges where I have to do some sort of driving on dirt road, and like the second you hit a wall or the second you hit into something, or if you screw up one of the turns, like you might as well just quit because you're not going to get it. And those have been the most frustrating things in this entire game for me.
If you don't hit a jump at the right angle too, like if you're just off a little bit, you're just spinning in the air. I'm like,
you jump off and you're like slightly cocked like this. You're just forget it. Your car's gone. You're not going to be able to recover.
I have quit the game a number of times just because, well, I know where this is headed. Time to go back, and that's super frustrating. If you were to give this out of 10, what would you give it, Marcus?
As of right now, I give it like an 8.5 out of 10.
Fair.
I would give it higher if there were no microtransactions, or like maybe not even the microtransaction. Because again, like Brent said, I don't actually care that they're there and that people want to pay them, but it's the fact that they screwed with the money tier system and like the value system that in this game so much that it's gotten to the point where it feels unfair to the person who wants to play and just kind of, earn and grind their way through. That mixed with, like Brent said, like this game is not the friendliest to people who don't know what they're doing. And like if you have a basic understanding, you'll probably pick it up and you'll probably be fine after a while, and you'll find some fun stuff to do. But if you have no idea what's going on and you get frustrated really easily, this is not going to be a game that's going to be good for you. So, like I feel like it could be better, and I feel like it should be better as they continue these updates, but we'll see.
Brent?
Yeah, what he said.
I meant your rating. What's your rating?
No, that's it. Basically, I was going to rate it 8.5 as well for essentially the exact reasons that he just said.
You know what?
I'm just busy learning that in 2016, Theresa May became the Prime Minister of the UK.
Yeah, that's fair. At least it's if you're not learning about cars, at least you're learning about general facts in the world.
No, that's. I don't think it's not really much more to say on top of what he just said there. It's just that's my sentiments 100%. The only thing I'd add in addition is just wish it was a little less repetitive early on in the game. I wish there was more to pull you in the beginning rather than make you do a lot of mundane tasks. But there is variety there if you want it, like going for the licensing and going for some of the more challenging races if you really want. Like at least they give you that option.
Fair.
Which is nice.
Yeah, I would also give it an 8.5. I love the menu system, not the menu system. Yeah, the menu system in the cafe. I think that's a brilliant way to introduce people to the game. I do wish there were a little more tutorials, at least explaining why I'm changing these different options on this car to make it go faster. Maybe the intake is better or whatnot. I'm using these words and I don't know what it means, but
it would be nice for them to explain like how a turbo works, and like because people are like, oh, you can buy this turbo and put it on your car, okay, and it makes it go faster, okay, but it doesn't tell anybody why or how a turbo makes a car go faster, and it would be nice for them to explain that to people who might be interested in learning that.
Yeah, like when I bought a power limiter for like one of my first cars, it's like, ooh, this sounds like it's important. I didn't even realize that you had to go in there and then use it to do the actual limits.
Well, same with like the higher end.
I learned that right now. I was this old when I learned that.
Well, same with if you buy the higher end suspensions, you actually have to adjust them. You don't just get them and they work. To get their value, you have to actually adjust them.
Yep. It's crazy. Like I'm lucky that my cousin is a bit of a car nut because he has taught me a little bit, not enough that I can fully utilize it in this game. I think this game is technically gorgeous and amazing. I hope that this is one of those games that they will continue to update and give us like cars and tracks and and updates to just the environments that we've been playing in. I want better songs. The music is garbage in this game.
100%. I want better songs. Music, like the music rally game or whatever you call it, it's fine.
Yeah,
but like the music is boring. I don't like this music. Give me good music, and I will happily play those music rallies for like some time wasters or just for like a quick fun race. Like, it's kind of fun. I do also wish that, you know, putting your effort into doing them at all, maybe give you a little bit of money,
or like money and a car at the end of doing all the music races.
You get nothing. You get nothing for music rally. It's just there.
It's there for the game to install. God.
Yeah, pretty much.
Other than that, I think this game is very good. I would recommend it to people. The microtransactions, like you guys said, just as soon as I saw that in my first like 10 minutes of playing this game, I was like, that's sketchy.
It's greedy, it's bullshit, and it's not what this game was supposed to be about, but whatever.
Also the comments about, I want you to feel like you're buying cars in real life. I thought that's a weird poll.
That's not what this is supposed to feel like at all.
Yeah, I didn't spend $90 to buy one car every 6 years.
Yeah.
Like,
that being said, I do recommend this game for anyone who likes driving games. This game is definitely worth it, and it's also on PS4. I never got to try it out on PS4. I have it downloaded, but I don't turn on my PS4 anymore, unless it's for Netflix. Yeah, thank you guys for coming and talking about Gran Turismo. This game was fun to play. We'll play you guys multiplayer. I've played with random people, and I'd rather play with people I know.
We got to get like a group together, like, because I know a couple other guys that play that stream it. So I'm like, I'd like to invite, and they're pretty hardcore into it. Like, they're like the wheel and pedals and everything kind of players.
We can't play with those people.
Oh yeah, we'll get destroyed.
So it'll be just a race between us three, and then those guys will go off ahead.
Yeah,
pretty much.
Amazing. All right,
I'll be the guy driving in reverse trying to take them out as they lap me.
Oh man, I didn't realize that triangle was reverse for the longest time. I thought you had to hold the brake button.
I was this old when I learned triangle was reverse.
All right,
I was wondering why fucking L2 wouldn't reverse every time I spun out. I'm like, why am I not backing up?
That's hilarious. All right, thank you guys for coming. Thank you out there in Twitch world for listening to us. We will be back in 2 weeks with another episode of Geeks with Kids. We'll see you soon. Have a good night. Goodbye.
Yeah.
Well, that's it for us this week on Geeks with Kids. If you want to get a hold of us, you can send us an email at podcast@geekswithkids.ca. And don't forget to like us on Facebook at facebook.com/geekswithkids. Follow us on Twitter at geekswithkidscn. Check out our pics on Instagram at geekswithkids. And you can find all of this good stuff on our website at www.geekswithkids.ca. So if you like what you hear, why don't you hit that subscribe button and leave us a comment. This podcast can be found on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, Stitcher, YouTube, and your favorite podcasting app. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you next time.